The degree of drama has escalated, and messes aren't being played around with. A full-fledged court battle is erupting in the wake of Kirk's covert attack, which I mean to be some next-level backstabbing mess that ended his career. Hip-hop rupture and petty love are nothing new. This might be the last straw. Wait, what did Kirk accomplish this time, and how did Mendeecees release his hold? The receipts are about to tumble, darling, after you slammed him with an entire lawsuit so swiftly. It's not just tea, it's boiling lava, but wait, do you recall Kirk's recent comedic behavior? It appears that the secret meetings and sly little maneuvers behind M's back have reached a breaking point, and now the heat is on. Was it Kirk's mistake, or is this something to do with Yandy and some unsettled issue from the past? Oh, don't even stumble, we've got the drama and all the sloppy details. I promise that by the end of this video, you will be shaken because we will be revealing everything. You would be very mistaken to believe that the drama between Ems Harris and Kirk Frost was done. There are rumors that Ems has sued Kirk, which will make the narrative much stranger. It's not a simple lawsuit, it has the elements of a massive conspiracy simmering beneath the surface, indicating that our understanding of the truth is far more complex and nuanced than that. Listen, the actual question is what Kirk Frost has done that led to this situation becoming so awful, not simply about M filing a case. This isn't just a little disagreement. It appears to be a calculated assault because Kirk had no worries as long as M stayed quiet. But have you noticed that Yandy Smith has remained silent during this entire situation? She has been quiet this time, but in the past she would constantly rush in to protect Mendeecees. Given that, let's face it, no one in that position could possibly defend Mendeecees. Does this imply that she doesn't support the case or that she is aware that speaking up could reveal some of her secrets? Now that the hip-hop industry and Hollywood are spotless, let's analyze this entire catastrophe. Kirk Frost supposedly had a covert plan against me, and it was the start of it all. Kirk's affair with Jasmine Blue exposed much more than his adultery with Rashida Frost. This time, Mendeecees and his family were also involved in the drama. Suddenly, Kirk and I met in private. Is leaked in which Kirk is seen discussing a dubious subject. Although the meeting took place in a public setting, someone inside videotaped it and provided it to the media. Mendeecees informed Kirk directly that if he didn't cease his shady behavior, he would take him to court. Everyone was astonished by what was said in that conversation. Kirk Frost, however, refused to back down and instead threatened the mess. He has served time in prison, so he knows exactly how to defend himself when someone tries to take advantage of him. But listen, Mendeecees is no newbie to this game. He'd immediately brought the matter to court after realizing that Kirk Frost was not going to stop. The interesting part is that this man, who spends so much time attempting to destroy other people's careers, now becomes quite upset when the tables are turned against him. Sources claim that Kirk Frost was secretly interfering in M's business dealings by approaching and feeding M's connections and clients behind his back. The goal of this criminal action is to show that Kirk did more than just cheat. He actually organized an attack against Mendeecees. This is not just a straightforward slander case. What sort of attack we're discussing is the key question at this point. You see, this wasn't simply a personal quarrel. Kirk had been secretly pursuing a well-planned takeover mission against Mendeecees, which included false information and even the leaking of confidential company data from an unnamed source. When Mendeecees learned the truth, he concluded that filing a lawsuit was his only option. Now think about this. Mendeecees wouldn't have gone this far if this had been a straightforward argument. But when someone damages your reputation in both your personal and professional life, it's not just a simple dispute. This is a battle, and trust me when I say that it's not just about business, it's a power struggle. The only options to overcome Kirk Frost and Mendeecees, who are both significant players in their respective fields, are through legal action and devious means. But wait, there's more to this story. NOA Kirk has been added to the complaint since it was filed. Frost will just take it easy, which brings up the next important question. Is Kirk already planning another secret move behind the scenes, or will he defend this case legally? Given that Yandy Smith hasn't been brought up since the news of M's lawsuit came, the main question is why she isn't speaking up. Does it imply that she, since the legal struggle is only getting started, the real question is what DC will do next? The real battle is still to come. Did she already know this would happen, or worse, is she really supporting Kirk Frost? How does that affect Ems, if at all? Mendeecees might lose this battle if Yandy begins to lean toward Kirk's side, but Kirk had no chance as long as they were a team. In Part 2, we'll examine legal gaps, media attention, and industry reactions to this absurd circumstance. This story will soon take a turn for the worse, so stay tuned. Now that Kirk Frost has been formally captured by Ems Harris, what comes next? In all of this, where does Yandy stand? Most importantly, what benefits does Miz stand to gain from this case if he prevails? Things will become much more complicated in court since Kirk Frost isn't the type to simply accept defeat without taking revenge. And he's already working behind the scenes to change the case to his advantage. However, when you're dealing with someone like Kirk Frost, you can be certain that he's already engaged in a full-fledged struggle for power, influence, and secrets. Using every strategy in the book to escape this situation, but here's the twist. Sources claim that Kirk isn't merely protecting himself, but is actually trying to reverse Miz's position. It's true what they say. Kirk intends to sue Miz in a countersuit instead of just contesting the complaint. You could wonder what the foundation of this countersuit is. Kirk's legal team seems to be preparing to contend that this whole situation is being made up by Mrs. to harm Kirk's reputation. To make it seem as though Mrs. is only jealous of Kirk's success and wants revenge, they are trying to alter the narrative. Let us now pause to reflect on Kirk's achievements. When we last checked, Kirk was out here having affairs, losing business agreements, and desperately trying to boost his reputation. Wants to suddenly pretend to be the victim in order to make things fit. But hold on, it gets worse because Kirk is manipulating the issue behind the scenes with more than just legal arguments. Can you guess who is assisting him? Rashida Frost is his spouse. Rashida has stood behind Kirk through all of the scandals, infidelity, and dubious activities, let's face it. Apparently trying to utilize her personal connections to protect Kirk from this litigation after she moved. Rashida is allegedly phoning influential people in the field to try to stop the media from covering this litigation. To control the narrative, she is purportedly reaching out to bloggers, entertainment news websites, and even some legal professionals. Speculating because, oddly, many platforms have been suspiciously silent about this news. Although you would imagine that every big site would be aflutter with excitement as soon as MDC filed the case. It appears that Kirk and Rashida are doing all in their power to keep this case from going viral. And they are doing so because they are aware that if as more research is done, more secrets will come to light. Come on, let's talk about these secrets. Kirk revealed private information at a covert meeting with M's business contacts, as you may remember, but that was just the start. Kirk may have engaged in even more questionable business activities behind M's back, according to insiders. According to certain stories, Kirk Frost was using M's identity to obtain business transactions for himself. He was out here pretending to be connected to M to close deals and then stealing the money. If this is accurate, this is flagrant fraud rather than merely commercial betrayal. Kirk Frost has also previously engaged in questionable financial practices. You may remember how he was discovered to have mismanaged Rashida's funds and purportedly used their joint accounts for Yes. This man has been acting dishonestly for years, as evidenced by his personal expenses. Since Miz is now pursuing legal action, Kirk is afraid that if investigators look too closely, they might find more material that might land him in hot water. But there's more. Yandy Smith hasn't spoken anything about the whole situation, and it's starting to look fishy. Yandy typically takes center stage anytime there is turmoil surrounding Miz, as you can see. On social media, she is often responding to individuals and letting them know that she is rooting for her partner. This time, though, not a single post, comment, or even a stay strong message was made. What is meant by this? There are primarily two possibilities. Either Yandy is against the case and secretly thinks Miz is. She would prefer not to be involved in the mess, and she believes that fighting Kirk in court will only make matters worse. The second possibility is that Yandy is keeping quiet to protect her secrets. Maybe she is aware that some information about her may come to light if this matter is investigated further. Additionally, keep in mind that Yandy herself has engaged in some dubious commercial activities. It didn't exactly help her look credible, considering that she was suspected of making up her marriage to Miz for TV. In light of this, Yandy might be trying to steer clear of disagreement with Kirk and me at war because, let's be honest, if she picks the wrong side, her entire public persona could fall apart. But if Kirk is actually going to count assumptions in DC's, the real concern is what will happen next. This instance could run on for years, and please keep in mind that Kirk may try to wriggle out of this issue with the help of his powerful business connections. If this case goes to trial, what will happen? Let's be honest, none of these men wants the world to know their secrets. Will Kirk find a way to work the system and escape the repercussions, or will Mies be able to prevail in this conflict? To realize that the main fight hasn't even started yet, and now we have even more questions. Is Kirk bluffing, or will he actually pursue this countersuit? Is Yandy remaining silent because she has something to hide, or is she quietly working behind the scenes to keep Mies safe? Above all, what would happen if Mies prevailed in this case? Kirk's victory if Mies wins. The real question is who will do it next. Will Kirk go full villain and attempt to destroy Mies in court, or will Mies divulge additional information that might bring Kirk down permanently? Kirk is not going to let that happen without a fight. There would be no more commercial dealings, industry ties, love, or hip-hop tales to keep him relevant, and his entire career may come to an end. In Part 3, we'll discuss how this legal battle is already appending the industry, who is secretly choosing sides, and what type of consequences Kirk Frost might truly face if this case doesn't go his way. This drama is far from done. So keep an eye out because things are about to get even more bizarre. Now that Kirk Frost is trying to refute Sue Mendeecees Harris, all of this is going to go haywire because since he is aware that this lawsuit could be the final straw for his career, Kirk is actually fighting for his life at the moment. He is therefore employing every shady tactic known to man to avoid losing. But the issue is that Mies isn't giving up either. Kirk wasn't ready, and guess what? He thought this would be an easy situation where he could utilize his industry contacts to quietly terminate things. Do you recall when we talked about Kirk Frost supposedly doing backdoor deals and stealing M's business contacts? Well, she seems to have evidence. Sources believe that M's legal team has recorded phone conversations, emails, and texts that show Kirk was deceiving investors by claiming to be managing business from DCs while secretly transferring funds. Let's face it, this is a whole new level of fraud, theft, and deception because it's not just a commercial issue. If this is accurate, Kirk might be dealing with a full-fledged criminal case rather than merely a civil action. He promised business ventures in M's name and then vanished with the money after making deals into his personal accounts. But hold on, it gets worse. Everyone is looking at Rashid as this drama plays out, asking, "Girl, what do you know?" Rashida always plays the innocent and pretends she has no idea what's happening behind the scenes because Kirk has been involved in many shady activities over the years. However, how is it even conceivable, let's face it? Kirk, you tell me, was racing around. The intriguing aspect is that M's legal team is purportedly asking Kirk and Rashida for bank records. This is where things get really complicated since Rashida may be involved if her name shows up on those accounts or if she made money off of any of Kirk's dubious activities. Despite lying to investors, stealing business deals, and transferring funds into hidden accounts, Rashida never saw anything fishy. Legal concerns as well, and it's important to remember that Rashida is already making an effort to silence the media and protect Kirk from the lawsuit. Why, then, is she trying so hard to keep things quiet? Is it to hide her involvement or to protect her husband? Rashida is not just a victim if she knew any of this. She is now a participant in the scheme, and Kirk and the guys D's are fighting in court for the duration of the hip-hop scene is closely monitoring the situation, and guess what? Individuals are already picking sides. According to rumors, a few love and hip-hop celebs are covertly aiding MDs in anticipation of Kirk's exposure. You might be surprised by some of the names involved. According to what was purportedly overheard, Lil Scrappy is avoiding Kirk because he doesn't want to become involved in this tumultuous situation. That Kirk started this, Yandy Smith doesn't say anything, casting doubt on her devotion to DJ academics, and other bloggers are starting to pay attention, suggesting that the story is getting more traction. But guess who's still supporting Kirk? Yes, it is said that one of the few people who still support Kirk is Stevie J, the king of unscrupulous business deals and problematic relationships. But let's be honest. Does it improve Kirk's image? Thus, the crucial question is, what will happen to Kirk in the event that Mies prevails in this case? According to M's legal team, Kirk's conduct resulted in substantial financial losses. So if the lawsuit is successful, Kirk might have to pay a large settlement, millions of dollars in damages. But that's not even the worst part if authorities find that Kirk committed. He can face criminal charges for financial offenses, including embezzlement or fraud. Let's be honest. Kirk's career is done if he is arrested for this. He will no longer have any corporate alliances, influence in the industry, or hip-hop or romantic relationships. What will happen to Rashida if Kirk is taken into custody? Rashida's enterprises might potentially suffer if she were involved in any manner. Her whole boss female persona is based on self-reliance and successful. Therefore, she loses credibility if it turns out that she was concealing Kirk's dubious agreement. You can bet your bottom dollar that Kirk will begin to snitch if he loses this case. Indeed, Kirk might begin exposing other prominent members of the industry who have engaged in similar dubious transactions if he senses he's losing because, let's face it, Kirk isn't the only one who has been. Backdoor business tactics. Kirk might start putting others under the bus to rescue himself if he gets desperate. Believe me, if it occurs now, some well-known names might be revealed. We'll know whether Kirk's countersuit is even valid at the next court hearing if the hip-hop managers, industry insiders, and reality TV personalities have taken similar actions. I will have an easy way to win if the judge rejects Kirk's argument. But if Kirk fights back, the case might drag on for months or even years. And the longer it drags on, the more secrets will come to light. These are the main questions we would like to know the answers to. Will Kirk face criminal charges, or will he simply get away with a loss? What, if anything, will be said about Rashida in this mess? Will her brand be affected by that? Is Yandy actually keeping quiet, or is she defending herself in the background? More significantly, who else will Kirk reveal if he becomes desperate? The ramifications of this case will permanently change the industry, and it is far from over. Believe me, more startling information is on the horizon, and things are growing worse every minute. Do you believe Kirk can truly? Is this the end of the road for him and Rashida, or is there still more drama to come? Who do you think he would reveal first if he begins snitching? To ensure you don't miss any updates, please leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.